Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Welcome back to another live show. And let's see, I got some really cool stuff going on today. Jake says, "Good evening. I'm just in time to catch the live show." Jake, you are quite possibly one of the most loyal viewers, if not the most loyal viewer. So that's tremendously appreciated. And just for your loyal support, I'm gonna blow the didgeridoo. That is for Jake. That is to celebrate Jake. And it's also to celebrate the super chat. So everybody else joining in, if y'all want to super chat, feel free to do it. And anytime a super chat comes in, that'll go off. And if I break $100 US during this live show, I will bring out the tribal drum. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We've got just a few things, man. I tell you, this A10 Mini Pro, I have been practicing, and this is quite possibly one of the first shows where I think I got everything right. I had the bars. You know, you're watching a live production, you see those little colorful bars, and then it kicks into the intro, and then it segued, it transitioned into me face on video with the lower third graphic, everything. I didn't have to push buttons and get all panicky. So Jake says, "Oh, and because of that, I'm still open to mod offer if you want." Man, always as this live show grows, moderation would be super cool, man. So anybody that that wants to donate their time to having a good time and moderating the comments, that'd be great. Because thing is, as this show grows, there's going to be a lot more comments, and the hard thing is trying to run the show. And then, manage the comments and this, that, and the other. So, yeah, it's exciting times, man. Speaking of that, exciting times, we've got. Oh, and Jake says, and also you're improving with the Didge. Thanks, man. That didgeridoo, I got to figure that thing out. But not being Australian, I don't really know that much about it. But what I do know is that when I have my well, I'm not even going to come up with a name for this, but this little beverage that I got, today's my celebration day. So I'm celebrating Monday. It's Monday, and got some good workouts in, and just trying to take some of the day off and just just do a live show and chat about a bunch of stuff. So yeah, man, we've got so Monday. Today is Monday. Monday's typically a day that's kind of a boring day, but there's a lot of good stuff coming. Sigma is releasing an 85mm f1.4 aperture lens. So you're talking about some shallow depth of field, man, and that's an FE mount, full frame Sony mount. And let's see, what else do we have? We have just kind of scrolling through my feed of goodness here. Obviously, everybody's ranting and raving over the A7S III. I've got to admit, man, there's a lot of people that have created a lot of very high quality video content using the A7S III. But again, it's a camera that's it's made for a very specific customer. It's made for probably someone that's doing video only, but probably someone that has other cameras in the bag too. So, with the 12 megapixel stills, it's not a camera where a serious person would want to consider it a stills camera, for still photos. It would be video only. But if you're in a studio type environment, and if your primary camera, like in my case, for example, is the A7R4, which R is for resolution, 62 megapixel, but you've already got the the Sony FE mount lenses, excuse me, I got the hiccups, then it would probably be good to add an even more capable video camera to your arsenal. And you get to use the same batteries and, all kinds of good stuff. Jake says, "I do know how to play the Didge. Mine is an Aborigine original." Very cool. So you've got, you know that stuff. To be full disclosure, man, I picked this thing up because I used to do a lot of coin videos, back, and I think we're about to see that again, back when silver was really running up. And I think, did silver touch around $50 per troy ounce during the last run? I can't remember exactly how high it went, but this was a core component of my coin review videos, because when I'd review a coin, I would come out with a didgeridoo, and just wanted something that had a unique on-camera appearance. I mean, this isn't something that everybody sees and knows what it is, but not only something that looked cool, but something that could make a really cool and unique sound. And one of the things I remember with this, and right now my boat is in a state of disrepair. It's in the marina. But back when my boat was functional, I'd take the boat out, and one of the coves I'd go into and anchor up. I remember I brought this thing out, started making the didgeridoo sounds, and these people were like, "Man, what is that?" And you know how sound travels on the water, so it was kind of an interesting thing. It's Jake says, I have a friend in Melbourne, which is in Australia, and he knows how to play and taught me. Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, it's gonna take a ton of practice, man. But I tell you, as I get those super chats coming in, I'm gonna practice this thing like you wouldn't believe. But there's let's see, what else do we have? Hybrid Life Stocks and Watches. He's not on currently, I don't think, but he's creating another live show, and that live show is all gonna be all about stocks and watch collecting. So if you're interested in either or, it ought to be a different type of content. Actually, there's an individual by the name of Bark and Jack. And Bark and Jack just hit 100,000 subscribers, and his channel is pretty much 100% watch collecting. It's like any sort of collection. Whether it's collecting watches, whether it's collecting, in the past it used to be baseball cards and that sort of stuff. Whatever the collectible is, there's so much that one can learn about whatever it is they're collecting. I mean, people collect stamps. People collect coins, people collect, the list goes on. So, when there's subject matter that's interesting and it has history tied to it, I mean, there's all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm super excited for Hybrid Life and his Stocks and Watches live channel that's coming out, and I look forward to doing a lot of video collaborations with him, because that'll be a cool area of interest. Also, let's see. Oh, the Schwinn Ic4. Obviously, the Schwinn Ic4 is just like the Bowflex C6. They've just got a different body style, a little bit different paint job. But I will say, the exercise that I've gotten from that, man, I mean, yesterday, I did, let's see, how many miles I've done on that so far. I haven't done a ton, but I've done, let's see how many miles I've done here. And this is an indoor magnetic resistance exercise bike. I've done 38 miles. So I rode that bike 38 miles this weekend. Jake says, today on Highway 401, a serious crash between two big rigs happened. Heavy fog this morning. Man, yeah, fog is no joke, especially on the water. But I mean, fog on the roadways, that's horrible, man. I hope everybody got out of that okay, man. But yeah, talking about, things that, you look at this pandemic and you're like, oh man, it's horrible. People everywhere are getting sick and this, that, and the other. And there's the flip side of it. A lot of it's just political and it's blown out of proportion. But inevitably, it's created a heightened demand for do whatever from home. And one of those big at-home activities is fitness. I mean, I know, for example, and again, I completely acknowledge that a lot of this is blown out of proportion, but I also know real people that have the virus, and I know the virus exists. So for that reason, you couldn't pay me to go to the gym and be in a small enclosed area with a bunch of people. So I've gotten this Schwinn Ic4 exercise bike, and I tell you, it is incredible exercise. Oh, we got RC Helicopter Heaven. Great green screen you go in there. Looks like you were outside. Dude, this green screen, and again, ATEM Mini Pro, man, this thing is the boss. I used a software solution for my live chroma key before, which worked decent. This takes it to the next level. This is like broadcast quality stuff. And the background, in case you're wondering, I filmed this video. The background, that's St. Martin. And my wife and I were on our kayaks, and we kayaked all the way over from St. Martin to where I'm sitting virtually right now. This is Pinnell Island in the French West Indies. And you can take, there's a little, on St. Martin over there, there's a little, ferry boat you can get on, and it'll pull you over. I mean, it'll drive you over there. But, man, if you get a kayak and kayak over, we did it a couple days. I mean, you're talking about, good exercise. There's 2 restaurants on the Pinnell Island. There's Yellow Beach. And then the other place started with a K. I can't remember. But what was so cool, they had a lobster cage in the ocean. And if you wanted to eat lobster, they get the fresh lobster out. And check out my Pinnell Island videos, Pinel, on my YouTube channel. But they had little tables out in the ocean, and you could sit out in the ocean. Like we did like a tapas type deal. We just had a bunch of appetizers and then like a bucket of beer. I remember this, the best drink they have is called a lemon ice. It was a frozen drink. And they were, dude, I highly recommend Pinnell Island. If you like off the grid travel, it's an adventure. And the thing is not behind me, but where I would be facing for this would be towards the island. You can hike all over the island. And when you get to the top, you can see St. Bart's in the distance. Obviously, you see St. Martin. But it's just a really, really cool place. There's all kinds of there's iguanas all over the place, all over the island, and awesome swimming. Awesome swimming. Jake says, one of the trucks was carrying ethanol, and a fire had happened from the truck that hit the tanker. And the fire department was worried about an explosion, which didn't happen, thank goodness. No one was hurt, thankfully. Ethanol is transported through the area to mines in the Ottawa area. Okay, so do they use the ethanol to fuel their mining equipment? Man, so let's see. What's some other funny stuff here? See, I'm not a really funny guy. I try to be hilarious, but I'm not. Let's see. What do we have? I'm pulling up some stuff here. He said the ethanol will power some, but not all of the mining equipment. I tell you, I finally, I'm happy that I've finally gotten the audio equipment. This Rodecaster, sometimes you get this equipment, you get all this audio and video equipment. It's like, man, that's, you think to yourself, it's like, that's a lot of money. But I will tell you $600, $700, $800, whatever it was, this Rodecaster is awesome, man. It makes the audio of this, it just makes it idiot proof. And when I pull people in on the phone or on face on video, it's just idiot proof. Jake says, I think it's used as a coolant. So he's talking about ethanol being used to cool mining equipment in Ottawa. We got more people tuning in here. Hey, everybody, don't be afraid. Speak up. Say hi. Say hi, and if you're tuning in, you can also, this right here is the sound of the super chat. So if you do the super chat, this thing will go off. This is a didgeridoo, or a didgeridoo if there's no super chats. Jake got the super chat because Jake's on here so much. He's cool. He gets the celebratory super chat just for showing up. But you've got to earn that status. So Jake's earned it. So he gets the didgeridoo. And I tell you what, I'll do one more celebratory didgeridoo for Jake. That is the sound of the super chat. The truck was a cause for concern as it was gas and pressurized. Boom, sounds combustible. RC Helicopter Heaven says, is it normal for ads to knock you off cast? I hope not, man, because man cannot survive without ads on on YouTube. That's for sure, man. I hope not. If that starts happening, man, I'm gonna have to call YouTube up and have a face-to-face serious chat with them, because that would be catastrophic. Jake says pressurized, I should say. So what we got going on out there? We got anything interesting? Anything y'all run into technologically speaking that's cool? You know, what are you doing during these unprecedented times to keep yourself entertained, to keep yourself educated, and or to keep yourself safe? What are you doing? And then Jake says, oh, and here's our signature gift from me and McKenna and Maya. Yes, yes, yes. Deeply appreciated. Yes, yes, yeah. So we've got a bunch going on here, man. We got tons of people tuning in. You know, something that I wish would become readily available again, and you know, one of the things I'm missing the most because of this pandemic, I haven't been in a gym since March, and it shows. I'm getting fat. I'm getting fat, man. I'm getting out of shape. I'm getting obese. So, you know, there's the Schwinn Ic4 is great because now I'm able to do my indoor workouts. I'm able to do the I just got a piece of fuzz out of my mouth. That's weird. I'm able to do the cardio indoors, but what I need is my strength training. And Bowflex has a product, and I had a Bowflex home gym in the past, you know, before we had COVID and all that good stuff. And but it would take up, you know, it took up space. So then I wanted to go to the gym, and obviously in a gym you're more motivated because you're working out with other people. But Bowflex has a product called Selecttech. And basically what Bowflex Selecttech is, they're dumbbells, but you can select the weight. So you get two dumbbells that you're going to still store in your home gym or bedroom or office, whatever, wherever you're working out, so they don't take up as much space. But when you're working out, you just select the weight. So if you're doing curls, in my case, I do 25 pounds. If I'm doing, you know, chest, I'd probably do 45 or 50. 45 or 50. For flat. And then for decline, probably 30 or 35. And incline, probably about 40. You know, I'm not trying to get huge. I'm not trying to get, you know, really ripped up. I mean, no, I want to get ripped up. I want to get ripped up again, but I don't really care about just being massive, you know. RC Helicopter Heaven says, not sending my 13-year-old back to school for the first quarter, so bang, another ad just replaced your stream. Cool, man. Ads. You know, the thing about ads, man, you got to have, here's the thing about the YouTube channel. And by the way, probably smart, not sending your 13-year-old back to school. I know these are uncertain. I know this stuff is heavily manipulated by the media, but the reality is the virus does exist. And I know that for a fact because I know people that personally have the virus. And, a lot of people it may not affect. Some people may have it, they may barely realize it. But those people that hardly realize that they have it, they could pass it on to someone that's old, someone that has pre-existing health conditions, and unwillingly, provide someone to share a potentially fatal virus with someone and not even realize it. So, for that reason, I'm turbo proactive about, maintaining my distance. I'm turbo proactive about always wearing a mask. I'm turbo proactive about religiously washing my hands, using sanitizer, just being smart. And, not just for myself, but obviously for the benefit of others. And not just the benefit of others, but the benefit of the others that those others may come into contact with. The people that are sick, the people that are more susceptible and more severely impacted by this virus. So I think you've done a smart move with that, with the not going back to school for the first quarter. I mean, that's a lot of people could say that's a political thing, but honestly, take politics out of this and just think about, okay, there's a virus. We don't know where it came from. We don't know who created it. It's a new virus. We don't know what the long-term effects may be. So, people that get it, they may be asymptomatic. They may be, and again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not any sort of, this is for entertainment purposes only. But, they may get it, and then 10 years down the road, you may find out, well, this is morphed into blah, blah, blah. You don't want to mess with it. It's not a good thing. It's not something that's going to come to you. It's like, well, I got COVID-19 and 5 years later, I'm a multi-billionaire. It's not like something like that. It's not a lottery. It's not something that you go after and try to get. There's nothing good about it. So, with that being the case, I think, anything you can do to avoid it. With that being said, I don't think the entire world should shut down. There's got to be business. There's got to be an economy, and without businesses, there's no economy, man. And you got to have an economy to make this world tick. Unfortunately, money runs the world, and it's a sad truth, but it is the truth. I mean, we're all slaves to money. Whether we like it or not, we are. And I'm not saying we all have to be multi-billionaires, but, I think the goal that most people have is to like, okay, well, if I can make enough to where I don't have to work, if I can achieve that, whatever the job or jobs or whatever may be, if that can be achieved and it can be sustained, that's happiness. That's financial freedom. And that's the objective. And I know, Corona is putting a big dent in that dream for a lot of people. Jake says, but the crash wasn't as bad as the truck that was carrying hydrochloric acid. It was shut down on the 4-0. Man, hydrochloric acid, that's some nasty stuff. Hey, fat ain't bad. I'm a little obese. Hey, you got to have some meat because, if you don't have a little bit of fat on you, man, if you don't have a little bit of fat, it says you don't know how to eat. You don't know how to enjoy good food. You got to have a little bit of fat. I agree, man. You got to have a little bit of fat. Jake says, I wear a mask only when I go into public place, but not outside. I'm the same way, man. I'm not the guy that's driving down the street with a mask. I'm not the guy that's walking for exercise and wearing a mask. I put a mask on when I'm going to be within, let's say 10 feet of people. It's out of respect. Not only out of respect for them, but, it possibly may better prevent me from contracting the virus. RC Helicopter says, what's your thoughts on vaccine made so quickly? Here's my thoughts, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. Okay. So number one, let's compare a COVID-19 vaccine to Microsoft Windows. So, let's take a trip back in time. Hydrofluoric acid. I'm sorry. So let's take a trip back into time, back when there was an operating system called Windows 3.1. And y'all may or may not remember this, depending upon your age. I'm almost 40. I'm getting old, man. I got gray hair, man. I'm getting old. But let's say that when Windows 3.1 came out, that they were already talking about Windows 10. Now, keep in mind, that was many, many, many years ago. So, Microsoft's trying to sell you on the next big thing, but they're jumping over this, and that. They're trying to get somewhere that they can't go. As we know, Windows 10 would not have been able to run on the computer technology at the time. I mean, this was pre-Pentium. This was pre-Pentium processor. I mean, this was a long time ago, man. We're talking about 286s, 386s, and 486s. So, you're making so I look at vaccines, and again, I don't discuss politics on this channel, but I'll share my opinion. I don't care. So my opinion about the vaccines, number one, there is no way. I mean, you could offer me a set salary for life and whatever. You could offer me a $5.5 million beachfront home, which would be a pretty nice home. You could offer me that, but I would not take your vaccine. And the reason I wouldn't, I'm not a lab rat, and I don't expect other people to want to be lab rats as well. The sick reality is that money obviously, drives all of this. So, what we're seeing now, when and if that vaccine becomes available, well, there's a few things. Number one, it is how do you know if it's going to be safe or not? It's a crapshoot. I mean, do you really trust a vaccine? Hey, what if it's level 2 of what's going on? I mean, there's a lot of people, including myself, that believe that this virus has been created in a laboratory. So what's to say that the vaccine is not obviously a vaccine would be created in a laboratory also, but what's to say that it's not created for the purposes of making this virus that's already in a lot of people even worse? What if that vaccine is not a cure? What if that vaccine is something to make the virus worse? What if this is a multi-phase attack and we don't realize it? I mean, there's a lot of uncertainties now, and I don't trust anyone. I don't care if it's political party A, political party B. I don't care if it's the United States. I don't care if it's another country. I don't trust anyone. Politicians are crooked, regardless of what side of the fence they're on. And there are some good privately held companies, but at the end of the day, privately held and publicly held companies. But at the end of the day, it's all a matter of greed. Jake says, COVID being made in the lab, that's my opinion. I agree. And there's no proof to confirm that. But the bottom line is that, and here's the thing that irritates me about it. Giving all the intelligence that countries across the world, throughout the world, allegedly have today and have had for many years, given the level of intelligence that's out there, it seems to be highly, it doesn't seem to be realistic that this would have spread as quickly as it did. With all the intelligence, I mean, there's whatever country it is, there's eyes and ears in pretty much every country. So when this stuff was created, so RC Helicopter 7, he says, so how will we ever get rid of this China virus? Well, that's the thing. So, here's a, and I don't want to be a gloom and doom kind of guy, but I'll tell you what my thoughts are. And again, I'm not sharing my opinions in regards to one political party or the other. I'm not even sharing my opinions in regards to a specific country. The bottom line is this: there is something out there that is the next level. And I don't know how much y'all know about this, but there's an organization, and it's called the New World Order. So, what we're experiencing at a global level right now is something. Number one, and I have no doubt, my assumption is that it's been created in the lab. So you've created something in the lab. It's just scary enough to where it's going to create, this worldwide paranoia. And obviously it has, because when have we ever seen entire countries shut down their businesses and this, that, and the other? So, this virus is the most powerful politician that's ever existed. I mean, it made its presence known. It's like, hey, man, yeah, Wuhan. And then it's like, wait, not just Wuhan. Now it's like worldwide, dude. So, this thing has hit the entire world. And the world as a whole is panicked. The world as a whole does not know what to do because, there was a virus in the past. It was a bubonic plague. But, I mean, this is just, something that you can't see, that you can't smell, you can't taste. It's not like you can walk outside or you can, go near a superstore or whatever and say, oh, I'm not going to go in there. I see that virus floating around. You can't see it. And, it's the inability to see this that makes it more scary. And then Jake says, they will, just you wait. How would you make a virus in a lab that would spread this fast? In my opinion, it's a load of BS. I think it's been here a lot longer than everything was publicly conveyed. I think it's been here a lot longer, and I think there's actually probably been a lot of people that have had common colds, had, some maybe more severe than others, maybe some people with influenza. There's been a lot of people that have gotten sick, and they probably had COVID. And I think it's been here for a while. But I think for political agendas, and this is not just the United States, this is the world as a whole, I think that what we're seeing here is a vehicle for, opening up the opportunity for the New World Order to take over. And I'm not saying that's going to be a good thing at all. We've got, and if you really want to dig into this, and if you really want to nerd out, if you connect a lot of dots, I mean, what's up with Space Force? What is the United States agenda for people to, why do we need, I think there's more involved than just a virus. I think we've got, I don't want to sound crazy, but I think we're on the cusp of, number one, New World Order. Number two, the undeniable proof that the extraterrestrials exist and have been on the planet Earth for a while. And I think hey, I'm not the media. I'm not here to instill fear in the minds of anybody. But I know a lot of stuff. I know a lot of people. And I think I may be somewhat intelligent. I'm not sure about that. But my opinions, RC Helicopter Heaven says 600,000 people dead is hardly BS. And Jake says, yes, I think it was there before even being discovered. I strongly agree. It's been here for a long time. And when I say long time, maybe a few months, maybe a year prior. And I will tell all my viewers this, and this was back, and I don't know if it's been here this long, but this was back, let's see, obviously it's 2020 now, the year that we hope to all soon forget, but it was back in 2019. And, sometimes I get sick. I usually get sick once a year, and I started doing the flu shots. Just, they don't really do anything, but I don't think they do anything. But I started doing that, and I got so sick one time. I mean, I was out almost for a week, and I've never felt, and this was back in 2019, I've never felt that drained when I was young. Probably back when I was 8 years old, I got pneumonia one time. And this was almost as bad as the time I had pneumonia. If you get up, you move around, you're really winded, it's hard to it's hard to have any energy. It's hard to breathe well. You're congested. I am convinced that whatever I got in 2019, well, I'm not convinced. I know that whatever I had in 2019 was something that I had never experienced during the previous 37 years or so of my life. So I may have had COVID back in 2019. And it makes you wonder, why do they call it COVID-19? So, there's a lot of stuff in this that you don't really think about. Jake says, true, but C-19 being a bioweapon, come on, that's not even imagined yet. But who knows? Maybe after it's reined in, maybe COVID-19 will become the next generation of bioweapon. RC Helicopter Heaven says the ads make it hard to follow your cast. They take you out. Oh man, sorry about that. Well, thing is with it, if I didn't have the ads, man, I wouldn't be able to do this, because I mean that's what supports that supports my channel. The super chat support my channel. Patreon supports my channel. If you choose to shop my links, that supports my channel. But yeah, I mean we're dealing with this with this pandemic. I mean, we are dealing with something that is I don't know. I mean, and again, this is not for fear. This is just all speculation. This is not political. This is just, what's going on and why is it going on? And there is I'm convinced there's a hidden agenda. And, I want to throw something else out there, and y'all call me crazy or whatever, and I respect that. We've got a private company now doing space exploration. SpaceX, Elon Musk's company. We've got, and they went up to the ISS, they came back, they splashed down near Pensacola, Florida, and they're all hunky-dory. But have you ever thought about what we're seeing and why they're making it so in your face? Starlink, SpaceX also has Starlink, which is a series of global satellites that provide internet throughout the world. You look up, track it. I'll post a link after this video. Go to Google and search for how to see Starlink satellites. The first time I saw it, I thought I was seeing a group of UFOs. I mean, it was a slow-moving string of lights. It was going, seemed to be moving through the sky. We're getting all of this stuff in the orbit right now, in the low orbit. In the case of Starlink, we're getting all these people going to private industry, going into space. We've got space, the space force that's been created. There's something going on, guys. They want us to see, oh, it's just private space industry. Oh, we're just, we're providing the we're providing the world with broadband internet anywhere thanks to our satellites. There's a reason there's a bunch of stuff floating around this earth right now. And it's not just, trust me, it's not just to provide broadband internet. RC Helicopter Haven says, the agenda is to get Trump out at all costs. China, man, it's sad. And that man is a businessman. And the thing about it, and it's not, the problem with society today, and granted, certain people like certain personality types. A lot of people would look at him and say, oh, he's not presidential. But what is a president? Do you want a country that thrives economically? Do you want a country that's just a pushover? I mean, do you want a country that's going to financially rebound? I mean, this man is a businessman. This man knows business. Sure, I mean, he's very direct. He says things in a way that a lot of people would categorize as not presidential. But what is a president? I mean, do we want a stronger economy? Do we want businesses to flourish? Do we want a capitalist society? It's sickening. It is sickening the number of people that feel that everyone should be equal. Everyone should just have a mediocre existence. Nobody should have any sort of desire to achieve more than another person. It's a very is a very messed up world now, and it's one of those things. And I know the media, and I don't watch the news because the news irritates me, but the media are all about conflict. So if they post these things, they can get more comments. They can stir up the negative banter, and their comments that they get from all the people visiting, that ups their perceived value for advertisers. So the media outlets make more money, so they want to go after the conflict. The bottom line is that most people and when I say most people, I don't want to overgeneralize, but what I would like to refer to as the normal people, they would want a society within which people can do whatever they set their mind to do. People that really go all in, they become ultra successful. That's great. And, maybe their successes will help to bring other companies up and other individuals up along the way. I am not at all. And what irritates me, I'm dude I grew up mowing grass, making $20 or so here and there, and I invested that money in the stock market. I saw an opportunity. I was turning, laborious task into small dollars, and then I was taking that money and putting it in the stock market. It's called capitalism. You got to work for what you get. And I'm not saying everybody's got to be a multimillionaire, and it's not all about making money. But people should be able to get out what they put in. The problem with society today, and again, not to overgeneralize, the problem with society today is that a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people are wanting a free handout. And a lot of those people that are wanting the free handout, it's due to the fact that they've been raised by the media. The media are part of the, I would say is part of the biggest problem today. The media instills fear, the media instills laziness, and the media promotes what is not for the greater good. So, for that, let's see here. You see satellites. Jake says, it could be turned into a bioweapon. You never know. I'm sure research will be done on COVID-19 after this pandemic. Jake says, I use my powerful telescope to see satellites and the ISS, the International Space Station, when it passes over our area. Very cool. I've said that is a very cool sight, man. Tracking the ISS and seeing it in person, man. It's freaking awesome. RC Helicopter Heaven says Russia has these microsatellites that are trying to destroy ours. I don't doubt it, man. You tell me all those little satellites that are up there, it's a TV, it's a satellite, TV satellite, or it's for broadband internet. Yeah, right. You remember back when they did the, and I think it was Mercury, or one of the, some of the earlier manned space flights. They were going up to orbit the Earth. Yeah, that's what they're doing. What are they doing? They're looking for missile silos. They're looking for, this, that, and the other on the ground. So here's the thing. Anything that the government's behind, there's often a hidden agenda. So, there's a common phrase that goes, hide in plain sight. So, if I go out, here's a good example. This is a ridiculous example, but it'll hopefully illustrate what I'm talking about. So if I go out to a baseball game, and then I put on a baseball uniform and I go down to the field, and I'm with all the other baseball players, I'm hiding in plain sight because I look like a baseball player. I'm on a baseball field, and it's hiding in plain sight. But what if I'm actually there to spy on the game and give inside information to the other team and rig the outcome of the game? Don't believe anything you see. Don't believe anything you hear. And for that reason, one of the best things I've done the past 4 weeks or so is that I have not flipped on the news. And that's no networks. I have not flipped on a single news network. I have unfollowed every local news network. I've unfollowed every mainstream news network except Fox News. I've still got Fox News. But, it's just, it just irritates you, man. Let's see. Jake says, it would have been neat to see Skylab or Mir with my telescope. Jake says, I even get to see a few space shuttles with my telescope. Oh, very cool, man. Have you seen the moon base? Have you seen that with your telescope yet? Jake says, but I've seen the ISS a few times. It's getting bigger every year. I don't doubt it, man. And, one of those things, they're growing, and again, this is speculation, but, they're growing the ISS, the International Space Station, because when you're going to explore, the deeper regions of space, then, you've got to kind of have a launch pad. So if you're already in orbit, realistically, what you could do, you could use the ISS to, or not necessarily the ISS, but a similar structure, or maybe the moon base. You could use that as a staging area. You could store your fuels. You could make multiple private space trips or multiple private space flights to that, drop off the resources, go back, get some more. And then you could, in essence, launch your mission to Mars or wherever from a space station or from the moon base or wherever. You don't have to, you can already have a surplus of those supplies in orbit. And ultimately, I think what's going to happen is, we're going to see the assembly from a private company. We're going to see a private company assemble a spacecraft in orbit and just load it to the gills with gear and supplies. And I think that's what's going to take the humans to Mars. Because, Mars is on the radar for sure. And it's not just for political reasons, but, there is, you do some deep dive research, even on NASA's website itself. You do some deep dive research and you will see within official photos, figures, humanoid type figures on the surface of Mars. So explain that. Some are military satellites like the Keyhole 2 and Misty 34 sats. Maybe one day when they build it. Here's a few sats I've seen on the CSAT Landsat 1, Keyhole 2, and the Misty. And of course the ISS, the International Space Station. Don't forget your t-shirts. Just check the link within this video's description, or just go to Amazon and search for IrixGuy, and you can find them there for men, for women, a bunch of different colors, different sizes. Philippe says, hello, Ed. How are you? What is your drink tonight? My drink tonight is a combination of 100% juices. I've got 100% pineapple. I've got some ice. I've got some 100% orange. And I've got, let's see, what else? I ate all my bananas, so I didn't put any bananas in here. What you drinking tonight, man? Philippe. And for Philippe, just for joining, like Jake, Philippe gets a celebratory sound of the Super Chat. Philippe is another huge supporter of the channel, and always good to have you on board, sir. So, and for everyone else out there, it's not Philippe or Jake, whenever a Super Chat comes through, this sound of the Super Chat will erupt. So, yeah, we're just talking about a little bit of conspiracy things and talking about satellites and the moon base. Jake said, Even saw a Telestar 2 communication satellite and the GPS satellites. Oh, man. Now, imagine if those GPS satellites messed up, man. That put the world in a world of hurt. I mean, but I guess you got GLONASS as the backup, the Russian equivalent of the GPS satellites. So at least have something. Man, this thing's dripping juice, and it's getting on my table. It's a little cheap table I got. Man, I tell you, this is the best desk that I've ever purchased. I mean, I've got it on my website. It's called the Cubiker, Cubiker. You can find it on IrixGuy.com, but it was easy to assemble. I was afraid this wood grain, or wood, I guess it is wood, is this, the top, typically on a less expensive desk, it just tends to wear out. Man, this thing's handled like a boss. I've spilled drinks on it. I've tried to scratch it up, and it's been good. It always makes you feel good when you invest in something and it exceeds your expectations, because a lot of things don't. I've had a lot of disappointments in life. Let's put it that way. Let's see. Philippe says, "Thank you, Ed." Hey, thank you, Philippe. Jake says, "My telescope is a NASA type. Very, very cool. I used to use this was way back when. This was back in the early 90s. It was red. It was an Odyssey. It was a reflector telescope, the big tube, and it had the lens towards the top. It was a reflector telescope. I think it was Odyssey, maybe. RC Helicopter Heaven says, "Have you played with the DJI goggles with the Mavic Pro?" I use my DJI goggles with a Mavic Pro 2, and to be frank, man, it was an all right experience. They were kind of, what's the word for it? They were bulky. I didn't like the isolation. I don't know. It's a cool. My take on it is that if I'm flying the drone and somebody hasn't really flown a lot of drones, I'll be like, "Hey, man, put these goggles on," and that'll blow their mind. But as far as using them to fly, I don't know if I could really use it a lot. And then it's also something else you got to carry around, especially when you're doing adventure travel. Which right now, the only adventure travel I'm getting is my green screen backdrops that I previously filmed, because I'm not about to get near all this pandemic stuff in an airport or a train or a bus station or boat or whatever. So Jake says the GPS sats are in Constellation, and it's the largest as confirmed by GWR. There are about 500 in this satellite constellation. Man, that's a lot of satellites. The one I saw, I think, was GPS 44. Yeah, I tell you, man, I deeply depend upon GPS when I'm doing backpacking. Now, obviously, I have paper maps and a compass too, but I mean, full disclosure, I think if I was in the wilderness and my GPS failed me, I would, I'd make it out, but it wouldn't be a fun hike out. I'll tell you that. One thing I remember, and this was back in the early, this was right around 2000. No, it was before 2000. It was back in the late 90s. But I went backpacking with a bunch of people, and we were out. It was one of those deals where one of the people in the group, they said, "Well, let's check this out. This looks like a cool off the trail place." So, rule number one, when you're in a huge wilderness area, don't get off of the trails, because often it's not going to be easy to hike. There's not going to be suitable campsites. You're going to have to make your own. This was in the middle of winter, and it got down to close to 0 Fahrenheit. And here we are. It's getting dark. It's starting to sleet. We're off of the trail. and we had to make a decision. You know, what are we going to do? We're going to keep hiking. Are we going to, you know, make camp and see what we can do? So, long story short, we ended up, you know, making a crude campsite because, you know, we had to clear it off. There wasn't, I mean, we were out way off of the trails, you know, nothing nearby. So we had to make a, you know, a crude campsite. We were running low on resources. You know, fortunately, we had water filters so we could, you know, find a stream, but we weren't even at a stream where we were camping. So we were in a world of hurt. One of the worst nights in the wilderness because you didn't know what the night was going to bring, and you didn't know what the next day was going to bring because you're already, you know, you're many miles out. You don't really know where you are. And this particular terrain, it was up and down, up and down. So, you know, some of the areas were too much of a vertical drop off to keep going, so you kind of had to meander. Long story short, woke up the next morning freezing cold, and we had to make a plan. You know, we had to come to a decision. Are we going to try to hike backwards and try to find where we came in from, which because of all the meandering and all the snow and ice that had fallen, it was going to be hard to see, you know, where we had hiked in from, or, you know, what else can we do? And it was a situation where GPS saved us. And I mean, this was in the earlier days of, you know, portable GPS technologies. It was a Garmin handheld. I think it used AA batteries. And I had, during a previous backpacking journey into this wilderness area, I had set a waypoint of a campsite. And I said, guys, this is going to be a long shot. But if we can get to this known waypoint, then it's easy. It's an easy hike out. So long story short, we hiked from not too long after sunrise until almost sunset. But we hiked to the known campsite. We were able to get there. And one of the scariest things, I never will forget this. One of the scariest things while en route to this known campsite that I had, we passed by, and this was out in the middle of nowhere, way off of all the marked trails. I mean, we were in the middle of nowhere, right? We passed by this area, and there was a tent and a bag and some other gear just left in the middle of the wilderness. And, I mean, it looked like because of the amount of moss and stuff that had collected on the top, it had been there for a while. So, you know, we kind of looked around. It was among some large boulders, this, that, and the other. And we looked around to make sure there wasn't a body or anything out there, because it was very strange that someone would just leave a tent and all of this gear in such a remote area. So that was really creepy, and we passed by that, and then fortunately the waypoint on the GPS took us to that campsite. After all the meandering, we were able to make it to the campsite, and then from that campsite, that known campsite, we had trails that I was very familiar with, so we were able to hike out. It was, I think, from that campsite, I think it was 7.5 miles. So, I mean, we got lucky, man. I mean, you know, you look back at some things you do, and that was one of those adventures that could have turned really bad. It could have turned really bad for sure. So, yeah, I mean, always have a plan, man. Always trust your gut, and always expect the worst. And that's the thing now. I mean, these uncertain times we're in, be safe, be proactive, and don't trust what others tell you, and don't watch the news. I mean, the news will just put you in a stupor. The best thing to do is just get through this and trust your gut and align yourself with people. Find the people that you know that really know survival. My drone store, which one, man? Is it Epic Drone Show or IrixGuy? I've got to take a look at that right now. IrixGuy.com /drone store. Oh, try this, man. Try that link. What was the link? What was the link you were trying? Because I need to check, make sure I don't have a dead link, man. Thank you for telling me that, because I mean, again, man cannot survive off Google ads alone, and that's a famous quote from Archibald Chesterfield III. But it's so true, man. You got to have your, you got to have your drones. You got to have your, you know, I provide consulting services if you need consulting, whatever you need. So it's, man. Well, on that note, everyone, I hope everyone stays safe. Again, you know, just let's get through all this mess, and, you know, let's hope that, I don't know, let's hope that the New World Order doesn't take over, because I think there's a lot of stuff brewing that a lot of people aren't really familiar with or really ready for. And a lot of people don't realize that, you know, they're part of the problem, and they're pushing society down the tubes. Oh, I see what you did. It's IrixGuy.com. You left off the .com. That's why it failed for you, man. I've done the same thing, dude. Dude, you scared me, because I was working on some SSL, secure socket layer certificates, and I was like, man, did I jack something up? I hope I didn't. So with that being said, y'all, I have thoroughly enjoyed this. And again, y'all be safe. You know, keep your, well, I guess the best thing to say is keep your distance, because we do want to keep our social distance. You know, we want to, if it's not disrespecting, you know, you got to respect others and yourself. And this virus is real, unfortunately. You know, how serious it can be is to be debated, but, you know, I don't want to spread something to somebody that's potentially compromised, because then, you know, that's horrible. So with that being said, I'm going to pop this sucker up here. Let me see what I got. Boom. I'm popping this up. Do that on that. And we are going to rock and roll here. I'm going to go to bed because I'm worn out, because it has been a crazy day. So thank y'all for your viewership. Be safe, and I will see y'all next time here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel, youtube.com/IrixGuy's. Subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.